record. All right, make sure it's okay. So I've been thinking lately that I'm gonna start doing some video diaries, and I really don't want to do them, but I feel like just as important as it is to share testimony about when you are past a storm and when you've gone through a storm, I feel like it's probably also equally as important to, you know, share what's going on in the midst of a storm. So I think I'm gonna start doing some video diary type of stuff where it's not gonna be with all the fancy edits, you know, with the music in the background. It's just going to be me talking, and it's gonna be transparent, and it's just gonna be uncomfortable. And I'm making these video diaries more so for me and less for you, but I naturally journal anyway. Like, I have a journal, it's somewhere back there, and I always journal pretty much. I try to journal like every night, every other night, pretty consistently throughout the week. But I want to start doing some video journals just so, you know, I don't know, I really don't know the whole point of doing the video diaries, but I've always kind of wanted to make some. Before I really knew that I really wanted to have a YouTube channel, I tried to make little video diaries and keep them on my laptop with my webcam, and I just never like was consistent with it. But now I really kind of want to be consistent with it. So today is Monday, August 13th, 2018. It's about 3:40 in the afternoon. I just got home from work, and this is gonna be my first entry. So how am I feeling today? I mean, right now I'm kind of cool. You know, yesterday I was a little sad, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm the type of person that when I have moments of sadness, it's like little moments like that, but I'm always like, just like brush it off as whatever was whatever. But then like when I have like one more, just when that one more adds on top, it's like they all crunch together, and it's just like, oh man. So that was the kind of day that I was having yesterday, and it really just like kind of came out of nowhere. It was like I knew that there was like little moments spanning over like probably like a week period of just like little things that'll be like, oh, that kind of like, okay, it's whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But then yesterday, I don't know, yesterday when I was journaling, and I just recognized, I was like, oh man, I'm actually like feeling sad right now. And why am I feeling sad? See, this is the part of transparency that is like, do I really want to do these video diaries? But I do, I definitely do. So it's kind of, and in these video diaries, I mean, I know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to use any names whenever I do these. I'm just going to say a person, whether it's family, friend, regardless, I'm just going to say a person. But first entry video diary, how am I feeling today? I'm actually feeling a whole lot better today, because I woke up and on my way to work I was praying and worshiping, so that always helps. But I guess I can just, you know, for my first video diary, and I was not ever planning on talking about this. I was never planning on making a video about this, but since this is not a usual video, like one of my more topical videos, and this is just kind of like turned on the camera, and I'm really not even like talking to a camera, I'm just kind of really just venting and talking to myself. I'm talking to my diary. So dear diary, yesterday I was feeling kind of sad, and I was feeling kind of sad because you know when God, you know that you have a promise from God, and when you think like, oh yes, like, you know, the promise that he gave you, you know, it's finally coming to pass, it's finally happening, and then you get in the midst of it, and then you're kind of realizing like, wait, is it really happening? Is it finally coming through? I don't know if it is. And so then when you realize at the end, it's like, oh man, it was close, it was a good try, but it wasn't quite the promise that God gave. And so when you think that something's gonna end up happening and it doesn't, or plans change and things just go left and right, things that you didn't really expect, and then you're just kind of like, oh. And it's like, of course, the faith-filled side of you is like, oh yeah, God got it, you know, no word from God will ever fail, you know, God works everything out for the good. And you know, and it's on the good side and on the faith-filled side, you acknowledge all the positives, all the highlights, everything that is good. And like, it's like that stuff, you know, makes you feel good. But then there's also, you know, those moments that I really try to ignore and like push back, that is just like little disappointments, I guess I could say. But yeah, you know, it sucks when you thought that something that was happening was something that God said, but it turned out not being what God said. It's like when you're in the mist, it's like you have this fog over your eyes and you really can't see that clearly. But then when God kind of clears up the fog and turns the fog lights on and you really see what's in front of you, it's like, dang, like that was there the whole time and I really didn't see that. So that's kind of crazy. But it's just like those sad moments when, like I said, you know, you have those moments of being faith-filled and on fire and like, you know, nothing can bother me, I'm unshakable, my faith is like way up here. But then you have those moments and you have those days where it's just like, I just really just want to sit and I just really want to be by myself, or I'm not feeling, you know, so joyful today. You know, today I'm a little down. And I think that having those kind of days are okay. Because I mean, just to be honest, like I don't think anybody is walking around completely filled of faith, full of joy, all the fruits of the spirit. Their fruit is just like this big every single moment of the day. I know for me that is not true, because I'm like naturally a very happy-go-lucky person. But then sometimes I have my days, and yesterday was one of those days. And it was one of those days because just thinking about like, dang, when you have a routine, a set routine that you're used to doing, you know, your schedule is, you know, set for a certain period of time, but then schedule changes. And the things that you used to do within that schedule, people that you used to talk to, and when that changes and then those people are like, you know, things change, and then it's just like, dang, back to square one. And now you have to go through that readjustment phase where you have to readjust, you know, back to life. And it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. I'm trying not to ramble. I'm trying not to ramble, but that's still because I'm just like, okay, how do I be transparent at the same time, but not like too transparent? But I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out. It's my first little video entry. But yeah, I was feeling a little sad because I was just thinking of, you know, some things that are currently different in this season and the readjustment phase that I'm currently going through. And let's see how real I want to get. Oh my god, this is such an impromptu video. But okay, I guess I gotta go there. I feel like the Lord is leading me to go there in my video diary. I don't know if I want to put this up anymore. I really want to change my mind. Like, can I change my mind? Can I do a hair video instead? But no. So yeah, I was not planning on talking about that. I really don't want to do this. Like, I really don't want to do this, don't want to talk about this, but I feel like it's necessary because people go through it, and I don't really see many videos on it, so I don't really see any videos. You hear a lot of talk, or you think that when you're courting someone, you think that when you start the process, like, oh yeah, I'm finally made it to this courtship, it's gonna end in marriage because I'm courting. Like, you know, I changed my life around and I don't do the same things that I used to. I don't talk to the same type of people that I talk to. I'm finally on the straight and narrow. I'm living right for God. And like, oh, finally, you know, God brings this person and we're entering into the courtship. Everything's an amazing bliss. But then sometimes Courtships don't end in marriage. Sometimes courtships just end, and it sucks. And that's the kind of stuff that you don't see videos talking on. You know, they say, you know, oh, you know, tips for courtship and marriage tips and boundaries to establish in courtship and blah 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 blah, but they don't talk about what happens if the courtship that you're in doesn't end in marriage like how you thought it was. You know, probably like other people who have been in my same shoes. You thought that you had a word. He was like, oh yes, hallelujah, praise Jesus, I got a word from the Lord. My husband has found me. Okay, my rib cage, I'm a lost rib and I've been found. But then sometimes it just does not end up happening the way that you thought. And then it's like, on one hand, it's like, okay, well, you know, I feel like I got a word from the Lord, so maybe if not now, you know, maybe there's some things that we gotta work out, and then maybe later. But then on the other hand, it's like, yeah, I don't know. And so the uncomfortable part with that is, it's like untangling yourself, and it's a different type of untangling, not like the worldly untangling to where, you know, you're in a relationship and you done fornicated, you done gave all yourself to this person and things like that. It's a type of untangling where it's like, all right, God, it's like, on one hand it's like, all right, God, I trust you, and then on the other hand it's like, why did you let me do this? Like, why? You know, I was cool where I was cool in my single season. It was just me and Jesus. We was chilling with each other. We were great. Everything was fine. Like, why did you even let it start? Why all of that? It's like, dang. And so those middle, oh man, do I feel myself getting emotional? Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna post this, but yes. So these are real tears. These are transparency, but this is what happens, you know. Sometimes it doesn't end off the way that you thought. And I think the hardest part is, you know, in my opinion, I feel like you can't, if a courtship ends, you can't possibly remain like best friends with that person, especially like, you know, say if God brings somebody new around and then it's like, oh, here, let me introduce you to my friend such and such, but it's like, that's not just a friend. Like, you thought that you and such were gonna have a whole future together, so that's gonna bring issues, and so you can't even have that. So that's like the bigger, like even bigger than the whole like, oh, the courtship, it didn't work out like I thought. It's the friendship aspect that is just like, because now, you know, it's like, it's not just the end. Because at least for me, I mean, maybe somebody else, you know, they can go from being in a courtship and then just go back to friendship and then just be completely fine. On the other hand, I don't work that way. I don't. I don't know how to just like switch back and forth. So, but the reason I was sad yesterday is just like, because there's like so many moments that I'm just like, oh dang, like things that happen. It's like, oh man, like, you know, before I could just boop, 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 boop. Oh, I can call up so and so and I could tell them, you know, oh, what just happened or what I've been going through. But then it's like, oh wait, it's not like that anymore. So I can't call, or certain, you know, things that you might be at, like, oh man, like this is happening, like I wish so and so was here, I wish so and so was here, and it's like, yeah, it's not like that anymore. So yeah, so that's currently where I'm at. So that was the kind of day that I was having yesterday, and it rolled over a little bit, and it's like a delayed reaction, because, you know, in the beginning it's just like, you know, it's okay, you know, I'm full of faith, you know, God got me, all right, I'm good. But now it gets a little like when opportunities and moments present, like, oh dang, like this just happened, I need to call. I need to call Jesus. That's who I need to call. And it's like that disentanglement. And so, you know, some days, like kind of, well, not really so much yesterday, but sometimes I just think like, oh God, why? And like, I know why. You know, I know there's a lesson in everything, and I know the lesson, but it's just like, ugh. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, even though, you know, the lessons that God teaches are always good, always beneficial, you always gain wisdom, but it's just like, you couldn't have taught me in another way. Like, you had to choose this route. And I feel like, and it's okay to think that. I don't feel bad for thinking that. It's just natural. It doesn't affect my faith. It doesn't affect anything. But you know, some days I just have questions. Why? So that's where I am today. Yeah. So with these video diaries, I just plan on being straight up. I plan on just being transparent and honest, and this is just what I had on my heart to talk about today. So yeah, video diary entry number 1. I don't want to post this. I don't. I told myself I was not going to make a video talking about this. I was not going to make a video talking. Maybe like 6 months down the line, maybe, no, more than 6 months, probably, you know, a long time down the line, and then reflecting back. But I didn't imagine making a video in the process of my process. I just planned on dealing with it and then coming and telling my YouTube family and sharing that, you know, once it was over, and how I dealt with it and how I got over. But you know, it's a journey. My page name is She's Altered, and me being altered doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in one day. Sometimes it doesn't happen in a week. It happens over periods of times. But I think it would be beneficial, not only for me to see how, you know, changes day to day, or from, you know, video diary to video diary, like in the middle of the process, and so that way I can visually see my own progress. But also, if somebody else happens to be at the exact same moment, and if me just venting, if they find peace in me venting and they feel like they can vent, and then we'll just be in our processes together. So this is very, very uncomfortable, but you know, the Bible says that we shall overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I don't believe that our testimony is all, we don't always have to wait until the end of something in order to share a testimony. I feel like even in the midst of the test, we have something that we can share. So what do you do in those moments when you feel sad and you really don't feel like praying? You really don't feel like worshiping. You just really want to be in a funk. And what I've learned so far in this process is that when I have like these moments where my faith isn't like so high, where I don't feel so joyful, when I really would rather be by myself, and I would really, you know, rather go watch a movie or just take a nap, I've learned to push past these feelings, push past this moment right now, and pray anyway, to worship anyway. Even if me starting off worshiping, if I really like don't feel like, I'll just put on a worship song or something, and I will just sit and I will let the worship song like minister to me. And then typically that kind of, you know, opens up, and then I'll express myself, or I'll get my actual writing journal out and I'll just start writing, and I'll just start being very open. And if I'm feeling some type of way that day, if I'm feeling some type of way at something that God just did, I will tell him about it in my journal. And then of course afterwards, and I'm like, but of course, God, you know, I know that you love me and that you're my protector, and that, you know, your ways are not my ways, and that, you know, there's things that end up happening that don't make sense to me, but in the big scheme of things, like, and at the end, it's like, in my moments, in my little funky moments, it's like, I can't even be mad at God. I can't even be upset, because it's like, I just know that God is too good. I know that he loves me too much. Like, I know that he's always protecting me, so I can't even, like, it's like my emotions have nowhere to like place blame, and so they're just kind of like, because I have no, like, no, I don't put it on me, so I just, you know, sit, I have my moment, I let my emotions ride, I wipe off a tear or two, listen to a worship song, journal about it, and then I get up and I go on about my day. So that's what I'm about to do. I've shared, had my moment, and